So let's now update the data in the database. We got two entries, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, but both entries are missing an author and the is best-selling value. They do have false as a default, but clearly that's not correct for these two concrete books. So how can we update data now? Well, the first step is that we need to get hold of the individual books. And therefore, I'll recreate my Harry Potter variable and assign a value which is book.objects.all. I still have book imported and so on. I just scrolled up a bit. And then I'll access the first entry here in that list of entries which we get back. Now we'll find a different way of identifying and getting single records later. For the moment, I'll do it here by position in the entry set. Of course, that's not optimal because we then always have to memorize which book was where. But for the two books here, that's good enough for now. So that's how I can get hold of that first book of all the books we have in the database and store it in a Harry Potter variable. And just to quickly verify that we have the correct book stored there, I'll output the title. So now I can do the same here for Lord of the Rings. Simply get access to book objects all, and then here for index 1, so the second book, and quickly output the title here as well to verify it. And now we got that. So that's good. Now we have this data here with which we can work. Now let's see how we can update the data. And again, updating thankfully is very simple with Django. All we have to do is work with the data as we're used to. So Harry Potter is a regular Python object based on data from a database, but when we work with it, it's a regular Python object, and therefore we can use the dot notation to access its attributes, its fields, like I'm doing it here for the title. But we can not just use that to read values from there, but also to set and update values. And for example, I can set the author to J.K. Rowling here for Harry Potter. So to a string J.K. Rowling. Now if I hit enter, this won't do anything to the database yet. The database will not have changed yet. Just this Python object in memory, not the database. So therefore I can continue and also set is best selling here to true. So to the Boolean true value, because clearly Harry Potter is a bestseller. Now again, nothing was written to the database at this point. To hit the database and update the data there, we now again need to access our variable, so our object here, and then we can call the save method. Now we did call save earlier already, and there we then inserted a new piece of data in the database. Now Django is smart. When you call save on an object that already exists in the database, it will not create a new entry, but instead update the existing entry. So save can do both. It can create a new data entry if you're calling it on some object which has not been saved to the database before. But if you're calling it on an object which already exists in the database as well, it will go ahead and reach out to the database and update the data in there. And that's what's happening here. So I saved this, and now the data was saved in the database. To verify that this is the case, we can again reach out to book objects all and access the first entry in there, which is that Harry Potter book, and output author. And you see J.K. Rowling, which proves that it was updated because this is now data coming directly from the database. This is now not the Harry Potter variable, but really the result from querying the database. So that's how we can update data. And therefore we can do the same for Lord of the Rings. And definitely also try this on your own here. Pause the video, try it on your own, and set the author and is best-selling flag for this data object in the database. Were you successful? It's basically just the steps you see up there. Now just for the laughter object. I set my author field here to J.R.R. Tolkien. And then I'll set the is best-selling field, of course, to true here as well. And then I'll just call save like this. And thereafter, we can again also reach out to book objects all, get the second book, which is Lord of the Rings, and output the author to verify it. If we want to, we can also output is best selling, and we see that there our data was saved. So that's how we can save data in a database through Django's model feature. And as you see, it's really straightforward and very convenient. So last but not least, let's also have a look at deleting before we then come back to getting data, getting single pieces of data, and also at setting filters. But first of all, delete.